So the things I talk about during this video are going to come off the cusp of what I talked about in the previous episode, whatever. I forgot what I was going to say. Goi's Occult, by the way, because I was looking at the screen. Goi's Occult 2-second mysteries. But yeah, basically a lot of game design stuff and things that we may or may not enjoy in video games. But as I actually set this up, we have Colt, by the way. And we're moving on to another character. So, as we move on to Goi's Occult, character exclusive custom character, and just to keep in mind, we have a lot high stats in knowledge and perception and one in everything else, so cross your heart and hope you don't get Zektas. But yeah, we'll talk about some game design things, because there's some interesting things, and this is charged by the previous episode, to repeat again. Second mystery, dexterity, knowledge, charisma, light, maybe Takshisan. And then kind of as an aside, as we don't have the second encounter for better or worse, is that now I forgot what I was going to say. It was something I really should write notes down, but anyway, let's move on. Oh, no, I forgot. Gosh dang it me. Nothing in the drawer, and let's move on. I would heal stamina. I'm not going to choose to this time. And here's hoping I don't get a single curse or injury that ends up absolutely destroying my stats. So, let's first take a look though. Vigil, Akamanto, Flood, Shiva's Colt. We can skip both of these. Well, one of them I think is still RNG. So really what we're looking at is Flood, Akamanto. We'll take Akamanto first then, and move on. But the first thing I did want to mention was that I was looking at basically how to make quality of life for the player. So if you don't know what I mean by that, and again, I'll make references to basically 100 Line Last Defense Academy, because I talked about that game specifically in the previous episode, but we're going to go over a more, I guess, generalized in terms of game design stuff. Also, I'm really looking for the Army Knife, which is not appearing. We really want that, because 14 Perception with the Army Knife is very good, and you'll see in a moment why. But we need to visit Police Station 2. High threat level downtown, but then we have forest stuff, and we have Flood. So we're not guaranteed to be in the forest the whole time, but I'm going to just assume that we're going to go there. Forest is a good place to police patrol if there's any World of War advice to give. But yeah, quality of life for the player. So for example, allowing you to skip animations, allowing you to skip certain things. In visual novels, I fail to think of many, like I think 9 out of 10 visual novels try to add in a skip feature. You know, there are obvious things like skipping through messages, holding down a button and letting the messages fly past. But when you really want to skip something, just to say it, you really should just put the player where they want to go. I mean, I don't know how this stuff passes by. Maybe it's to buy time, essentially, because, for example, for those who don't know, on Steam, you can't refund a game unless someone's put less than 2 hours, or they've held the game for 2 weeks. So some developers try to get smart and, you know, put in more time. Now, obviously, on a bigger game, that's less of an issue, because people are going to play the game for longer than 2 hours, most definitely, like 100 Line or any other visual novel, really. But basically, if there are unskippable animations, definitely in 100 Line, but any other game may have them as well, which therefore bloats the amount of time you're going to be playing that game. So I'm shrugging here as I say, quality of life that I'm thinking about. The quality of life that I'm thinking about, I think you just take this in the face, by the way. Do I? Yes, because if we hit the 70%, we get to get out. But now we are on Akamanto, so we're going to take extra stamina damage. But I'm thinking for my own game, like RPG Maker, it's not the easiest thing to do, because there's certain things in RPG Maker that unless you're using custom plugins or plugins that you've made or plugins made by other people, you can't skip, but you can make things just as good. You can make quality of life for the player in such a way that, you know, no one's going to complain. By the way, I think we just take this in the face too. I could handcuff this thing, but Akamanto is more important to handcuff. Now, we should be able to one-shot Akamanto here, and funny enough, that Cultist Hunter was my second encounter, but as I stay on topic here for a moment, yeah, you can add quality of life. Obviously, there are message skips in my game, if nothing else, but you can do message skips in RPG Maker games. Should I really do this? No, I should just do this. I don't know why I'm taking a risk here. We'll add in an attack just to be safe, but yeah, we want to do that. And I option select just in case I could defeat Akamanto. I did hit both attacks, but it's not enough. So the handcuffs is very important. And being able to do handcuff tech helps you a lot in Akamanto. But anywho, we might as well equip this now. But yeah, that's what I mean. So adding animations to your video game, even in RPG Maker's case, when you're adding battle animations that take a long time, there better be a good reason for it to exist. Because after the first few times you use a move, yeah, if it's too long, people are gonna get tired of seeing it. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. Vigil, sheep. So we'll take Colt just to be safe here. We can take Flood later. We're not that hurt, reason-wise, really, but that's why I want to. That's why I would want to rest in Flood like this. But anyway, I could have prepared instead. But hey, and look at Tentacle Chan right there. But again, in visual novels, it shouldn't be hard to do. I don't know why. Maybe it's a production thing. So maybe someone from high up, and when I say that, usually there's negative connotations, but maybe someone just decided that you can't add in skips here and there. So again, using 100 line Defense Academy as not an excuse, but as an example, you are unable. Actually, isn't that guaranteed? Well, near guaranteed unless we roll a 1. Oh no! I clicked the mouse. Okay, we'll do another run then. As we see a black screen for a moment, unless that was something else. Usually, I should not be clicking while the game is loading. At least from the small message I got. I don't know if that appeared on OBS, because for some reason I wasn't paying attention. But we'll do another run. Harold Curious Birthmark, and we'll get into that. So, yeah. For visual novels, though, if you add in unskippable animations, most visual novels do, like, obviously message skip, but also animation skips. Unfortunately, and more likely unfortunately, I forgot what god I'm on. I'm just gonna say Botu. It was probably not. Let me try to remember, actually. I don't remember. No, Harold. So as we get into Harold, Curious Birthmark, character exclusive, custom character again. Yeah, in 100 line Defense Academy, there are a few key animations that you are forced to see literally hundreds of times, and it takes up 5 to 10 seconds of your time. So knowledge, dexterity, charisma, light, second encounter, Toxicon maybe. But we're just gonna fail every single check unless we get Iwa again, maybe. But that's what I mean by quality of life. Like, why have the player sit through these animations? Why have them sit through these animations? That's really all there is to say on that matter. But again, translating this to other video games, that's one important part. But it's one example of a quality of life that you should really give the player. There's no reason not to. Maybe there is a setting here and there, and at least in 100 line Defense Academy, but there are half a dozen more examples I could pull off the top of my head. Teacher, Ward, Metamorphosis, oh my goodness, Madness, and Phantasm. Well, it's gonna be bad either way. We'll take Metamorphosis now, but I wonder how this character is gonna deal with that. And by this character, I mean a character with this stat spread, really. But we'll do our best. Thankfully, we do start with Expel Evil, so that gives me a lot more Doom to work with. I could also do this, because we did not get the thingy-majiggy anyway, so yeah, the Army Knife. And we can buy the Hospital Pass at any time. So essentially, we are doing rerolls here, because, well, we do need the Hospital Pass. Now, I'm just going to keep rerolling here until we find the Army Knife, and then we stick with that. I should have used these earlier. I'm just going to use it now, and we'll buy the Army Knife. And take it out of storage. Another example is battle skipping. Like, there are and pre-animation before you are allowed to skip battles in 100 line Defense Academy. That's not too much of a spoiler, but before you can do that, you have to sit through the game showing you UI. Even though if I were in control, if I were to fix this issue, you just prompt to the player before you even enter, like, because there's literally nothing else happening in between. But again, maybe there's something that happened in the wow, I rolled a 1, really? Okay, cool. Maybe there's some reason why it could be done that way. Who knows? But it is what it is. That being said, I think the story of 100 line Defense Academy is great, actually. But there is a lot of gameplay features that definitely bloat your experience, and it definitely can turn a lot of people off, in my opinion at least. So there's that. But again, I think a lot of that is usually quality of life. The game itself, I don't think it by no means is it bad. I think it's actually great. But again, that's to my perspective, because I normally look for time the game gives me And we're not counting time that I consider a waste either, like you have to grind. If you have to grind, that's too much of a grind. In fact, most grinding these days is something that I would not recommend many game developers try to do. Unless you're getting something with the grind and not after the. I'm being very specific with my words here. You have to be getting something while you're grinding, because then the grind is a lot more not feasible, palatable, I guess to say. So, for example, maybe you're unlocking something while you are grinding something, so therefore you're not wasting as much time. And in a way, this also goes down to time waste, I guess. You're not wasting as much time. By the way, I think I'm just gonna. Do I want to go for more cigarettes? No, I don't want to do that. The reason I don't want to do this is because I need to grab 3 packs of cigarettes if I want to sustain. And this character, even though we have 14 perception and an army knife, I promise you it's still going to be bad either way. Now, what I'm hoping is that we don't get... Okay, I need to focus for a moment here because I need to not die. But I think if I do this, even if I take... Funny enough, if I take double stamina damage here, we can do a thing. Now, unfortunately, we got hallucinations, but... from here on, we can pretty much just brace our way out. Now, again, we only have 1 stamina. Actually, I think I can do this and throw the brick. That's probably better for... Yeah, that's better for my HP. Do we need to throw the brick? No, we can throw the wooden bat. But anywho, forgot what I was talking about. But it has to do with a lot of... Again, time investment. I'm mostly looking for time investment. I think in the case of 100 Line Defense Academy... That game is about $50 USD. We'll just assume it's 60, which is to me, for the amount of time that I put in it, I think at the time of this video anyway, it is a good value for me, but for other people it might not be, because again, there are a lot of games out right now. Again, we are in a kind of a competitive market, so asking people to take away time means that if you're putting 40 or 50 USD plus on the table, the player needs to be satisfied. But again, and that's why I said specifically again, for any game really, but in the case of 100 Line Defense Academy, you are really either someone who was a fan of either 2 of the scenario writers, essentially. I forgot the names, so I don't want to butcher their names. Or you are a fan of visual novels in general. Yeah, with 13 perception, funny enough, we're no longer able to prep attack, prep strong, sorry. But anywho, this isn't the most painful encounter, but it is something to note. I actually might want to old coin away that hallucinations. If you get another stack of hallucinations, sadness. But anywho. But yeah, that's, again, for visual novels, it's usually not that much of an issue, but you can still, in the case of 100 Line Defense Academy, or others that I can think of off the top of my head, yeah, there are definitely some places you could trim the fat, to use the saying, I guess. But, again, that's by far, it is not a bad example. What am I trying to say here? It is a significant negative that I would not deny anyone for such a visual novel experience, and really it's a visual novel with gameplay elements. Again, like, for those who don't know, just to say it again real quickly if you didn't hear or watch the last video, it's like 13 Sentinels, Danganronpa, and in fact, the main people in charge of these said projects did work on 100 Line Defense Academy. So again, if you're fans of those games, you are likely to take a dip into one of those. Do I actually want to fight this, by the way? I normally would bring handcuffs, and we can't brace, so yeah, I think we just run away. Otherwise, we take four stamina. We could just end up dying here, basically, so rather take the Doom. Now, we are going into our third mystery with 56% Doom, but hey, it could be a lot worse. We could be dead, so... And so that's why, again, not just 100 Line Defense Academy, but that's just the game that I'm willing to say I'm playing right now. It is one of many games. I play other games to get ideas of what to do during my own development, and I think for good reason. I think it does help out in the end. Now, doesn't that guarantee a good game is going to come out, or does that guarantee I'm going to make a good game? No, but it certainly helps. And again, in this case, in the case of 100 Line Defense Academy, it has allowed me to kind of think about, or at least it has allowed me to think about quality of life for the player, trying to not weigh the player down in things that they don't need to do, essentially. We have 3 luck, which is better than 1 of every other stat except for perception and knowledge, but anywho, I'm just going to take a big gamble here. I really shouldn't, but I'm going to. We could have also done prep attack, prep strong, but now I'm just curious. Okay, well, that was... yeah. Anywho. But at least, as I said, in RPG Maker, there are definitely ways to help the player not give quality of life to the player. Thank goodness. I mean, we have 15 knowledge, so we weren't going to fail that, but keep in mind, we rolled a 9, so that's why I was like, thank goodness I have high knowledge, if nothing else. But we are still in some trouble here, because we were going to fail many other events. But as it relates to game development in general, yeah, you'd think that... and I'm not saying this for Underline Defense. I think Underline Defense Academy is still a great game that does consider, its target audience, but I understand why some people might be turned off. But in general, it shouldn't be such a hard thing for some developers to consider, their target audience or target player's experience. And I say the word target in a very specific way here, because trying to make a game for everyone, it's not impossible. It's just it's really hard to get a general audience into a game that may specialize on, whether its story tries to focus on the aesthetics of its own design, whether that's gameplay, art, storytelling, so on and so forth. But it's not impossible. It's certainly not. But most of the time, being in tune with what your players what a player may want, which is why you're making a video game in the first place, unless you have a very specific vision and you know how to work on that vision. We can think of a few game developers who are like this, and therefore their games pop out to the general audience, or a lot more to the general audience than most, but obviously there are players who jump in. We got another stack of hallucinations, by the way, but... oh, goodness, we'll just stick with it. We can level up and increase perception, but... with this said, though, I think we were able to buy 2 packs of cigarettes, so we're just going to use this corpse dust because our luck doesn't matter, pretty much. But we are going to use both packs of cigarettes, and that should last us till the rest of the run. And if the game allows, I'll take the perk for perception. If we don't get it, we'll just increase perception ourselves, yeah. So, because getting more strength, well, it would be nice. It doesn't really get me as much. But anywho, I wanted to say a little more on the topic of what our game developers and being able to know what players want. And we're talking about a very base level tier too. Oh my goodness, by the way, pain. But I don't know, it just doesn't happen. Now again, there's a difference between that. I'm not saying that developers purposely get it wrong or easily get it wrong either, but that is the case that's happening for let's just say bigger companies. But game developers can get it wrong and just make mistakes, especially for indie game dev. Obviously, I've talked about the difference between an indie dev making a mistake and a big company making a mistake, although both can be just as bad for whoever's involved. What I'm trying to say is, usually, if I had to say like 60-70% of the time, it's more forgivable for an indie game dev to make a mistake, especially one that's starting out, than say a company with high renown, and we'll leave things at that. Because yeah, that you think people would know. As I may have mentioned before, and if I haven't, I'll say it now. A bigger company has people expect more from a bigger company. By people, I mean specifically players, and especially people who are fans of said company or games that a company make or said IPs. We just have to double attack here. And so yeah, and quality of life is one. I think it is a significant, like, top 3 to 5 reasons why you would need to. You want to make sure your game has quality of life. Again, small things like settings. Now, I'm not saying you completely need to always make a colorblind option, a deafness option, an arachnophobia option if we're being a bit more specific. But those help. But what I mean by quality of life is you're not forcing the player to do things that pretty much serve no other purpose than to usually buy time or use up the player's time, which unfortunately does happen. But again, it's not good, basically, to say anything else. And that's why I've normally been thinking about how can I make things, how can I get the players of a game that I'm making to experience more fun, essentially, or be more interested. And then, as I said before, if you're having the player grind, that in itself is usually not a fun time. Again, especially in this day and age where I believe that most players don't really have that time to put down. Now there's definitely audience for it, but then you have to target that, like, you're specifically making a game for that audience, but I don't think that's the best call in this day and age. By the way, we're dying here, but we'll do our best. Didn't I have the second in? Yeah, and then I can't really rest really great, so I think we just die no matter what. We'll struggle till the end, but I promise you, it's really bad here. So, with the games BGM, I think this is the bulletin BGM, but I forgot that I was on a custom mystery. But I think we die here anyway because we have to chew through 33 HP, and we don't have that much. Even though we have... Well, can we brace? No, we can't because 3 strength. So this is another downside for characters at low strength, just in general. Yeah, and this encounter does stamina, so I can't even do anything else aside from it. Though, yeah, Toad to Flame is probably our best bet here. Funny enough, and then we have to go for a double. We have to go for a double sever. We might even have to go for a dodge at this point. Actually, did we throw the brick already? We did. We have to throw the empty bottle too, though. We do get a lot of damage for our sever, but I promise you, we still needed to throw that empty bottle because we needed 12 damage. Or yeah, we needed 8 damage, and the bottle did 4, which made things perfect. But I think we died at the lighthouse. But basically, just to end the thought, yeah, if you're adding something with the grind, like you're getting lore or characterization, or you're adding in, you know, comedic moments, important moments, while having someone grind, you're adding something other than the grind for time. That helps alleviate things, but not that doesn't mean you can just insert grind and just have people do it. Because then at that point you have people saying, "Well, why do I have to grind to experience X in Y game?" Essentially. Yeah, we'll rest as many times as we can, but I don't think we can rest too much. So, pain. I will rest again just to prove the point, but then we die to Doom. But we'll go as far as we can. So yeah, just things on my mind at the moment as I go through. Again, usually I have games just running at the side so I can multitask while I'm doing game dev or writing or working on my channel, making thumbnails, uploading videos, rendering videos, editing videos, so on and so forth. But yeah, without further ado, if you have anything to say, I mean, I'm always interested to hear what other people think as I pretty much reason out here, and I will see you when I see you. If you have anything to say, if you want to see custom content, you know what to do, because I'm going to be on this series for a while, and we're going to stop because I lost the run. Oh my goodness!